Hi there, traders. This is Art Dill for FuturesTradingCompany.net, and here's our contact information on the screen. We had 5 official trades today. One in the Globex session, 1-0 on the Globex, and it was a home run, plus 64 points. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that trade in just a second. And then we went 3-1 during the day session, plus 31 points. So we were a total net today, 95 Dow points. The Globex session trade was after the open of Europe. It was 12:20 a.m. Pacific time on the Pacific Coast here, 3:20 a.m. on the East Coast. And it was a trigger entry at 12:20. I was able to get short at 13:026. I waited for a little bit of a retracement here, and it was on actually this bar. The low of the bar was 13:022, so I got 13:026 was my entry. I did take a little heat on this trade and actually had a long trigger form here, and had we broke above that bar, we would have been stopped out on the first trade at 13:035, but it did not happen. It got to that, the trigger formed, and then the price rolled over and started down. I got 13:016 for 10 points, 13:011 for 15, and when we got the 13:011 for 15 points, I put a 15-point trailing stop on, so that the worst I could do on the last contract was break even. And I hung it up. I went to bed. I was very tired, and actually had a dream after I went back to sleep that I'd gotten stopped out with a 1-point gain on that last contract. So when the alarm clock woke me up, I got up this morning. I grabbed some water and sat down at the desk and opened up the trade manager, and lo and behold, it was not 1-point gain. It was a 39-point gain on that last contract. I got stopped out at 12,987. So I got a 10, 15, and 39-point gain, a total of 64 points on the overnight Globex trade. So it was a great trade. And that's why, folks, I have decided to start trading the Globex. If you go back and take a look for yourself on your own charts, you'll see that there are, more often than not, the Globex will trend in one direction a long time. Not nearly as choppy, typically, as the day session. And let me just show you, I was already in bed, but had you stayed up and waited, you could have gotten another entry at 2:22 Pacific time here. Again, a trigger entry. And on my second entries here, after I've taken a big gain like this of 30 or more, I would take a 20-point target as my final target. So this entry would have been good for 10, 15, and 25 or 45 additional Dow points. After the open of the market, our first trade during the day session came at 7:03. It was a trigger entry trade. I took the trade long, one tick above the trigger bar, 12,995. Took a little heat, not much. 988 was the low there before the market turned higher. after that heat, I took one off at 5-point profit, and I waited and took the other one off at 13,010 for 15 points. And that actually, as it turns out, was the exact high of that move. So it was a good target, good exit, and so we got plus 20 points on the second trade of the day. The third trade took a short. It was at 7:14 a.m. Pacific time. A trigger entry. There was the trigger bar right there. We got short at 12,995. I only took one contract on this, guys, and just to reduce my risk and followed that down and got a 10-point target, and I was out at 12,985. I got to a low of 12,981 and then came back up, so I didn't really leave a lot on the table there. Again, on the third trade of the day, plus 10 points. That was the last trade last trade I took during the morning of the day session. I had then identified this area as a chop zone, and I wasn't taking longs or shorts. These were valid. This was a valid long trigger, a valid short trigger, another valid long trigger. This one would have worked out great. You could have gotten 7 points on this one and then stopped out. This one would have been a losing trade, but you would have more than made up for it if you had taken all three of these. This was a nice winning trade to the upside. But I didn't take any of these. These were what I considered a chop zone, and this price, while it continued up, in my mind, what I thought is it could have very well rolled back over and continued to chop in this area. So I'll scroll over to the afternoon. This is where I took the last two trades of the day. This was the fourth trade that I took today. Got long at 11:02. Again, it was a trigger entry trade, 12,970. And again, I only had one contract on here. And I was looking for 10 points, and that's what I got. I got out at 12,980 for a 10-point gain on one contract, and so that was plus 10 on the fourth trade of the day. We had come back up, tagged the 89 EMA, and this was a nice setup, and so I did take a entry. This was actually a breakout trade below this little pivot that had formed. But I did also have a valid trigger bar right before it broke the little pivot, and either way, it would have been a losing trade. But I only took it with one contract, and I was using a 10-point trailing stop, and got me stopped out of that at 12,982 minus 9 Dow points. And as I said to the room members at the time, they were up 31 points for the day. I didn't want to take another trade and cause anyone to go red for the day, so I called it a day, and I didn't call any additional trades. That was it for the day. Really, the Globex trading, guys, is something you really need to look at. It is something that I had been looking at for a long, long time, and then just decided to start getting up and seeing if what I saw on the charts worked in real time. And thus far this week, it's been very, very good. Tomorrow morning, we will have a news trade at 8:30 Pacific time. Sign into the room and take a look at how I trade that. that'll probably be the only trade we'll have, as the Globex session is shortened tomorrow for Good Friday. That's it. Send me an email, sign our guest book on the web, and I will get you a free 2-week entry into the room so you can see these triggers firing off in real time and become a part of what I believe is going to be the best Dow and NQ trading room available to anyone on the internet. Have a great evening, everyone. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.